Bernie Sanders called Christianity, Christians unfit for public office. Basic Christian theology in Sanders' view is indefensible, it is hateful, it is Islamophobic, and it is an insult to over 1 billion Muslims throughout the world. So, wow, why does he care so much about Muslims? He's a Jew, and I'm sick and tired of people like thinking that Bernie Sanders is like some, he's a nice guy with maybe a bit misguided socialist ideology, but like, he's really a decent, honorable guy, and this is complete bullshit. Like, when during the American election cycle, this was of course what Bernie supporters thought naturally, but also I think also many people who didn't really support him, but thought that maybe, he is a decent guy at least, even though if they don't agree with his ideology and stuff. But he's a complete sellout politician, and I don't know, like, compared to others, like even Hillary Clinton, like, she knows she's evil, she's evil, and she enjoys being evil. At least there is something respectable about that, but like, this guy just, doesn't even say that, he hates Christians, basically, because he's a Jew, I would imagine. Like, he's trying to use it, their alleged hatred of Muslims as an excuse to berate Christians, and yeah, if he thinks, like, it says here that later here something about that he wants to have like some sort of test, for, like, if you run for office, that if you're a Christian or not, then this is unconstitutional or something. I'm not sure if it's true or if it's something like made by the journalist to, try to stir up more controversy, or like maybe this thing is sort of taken out of context, since it was like he was sort of responding to some guy, Russell Voigt, however you pronounce his last name. He wrote about Muslims. Muslims do not simply have a deficient theology, they do not know God because they have rejected Jesus Christ, his son, and they stand condemned. And so I guess if Sanders was sort of responding to it, I guess I can understand that he was acting, he wasn't, perhaps didn't mean everything he said, but then again, I think he sort of did, because, well, just during the election cycle, let's go back to that for a moment, like, he repeated all the same media talking point bullshit against Donald Trump, that, he is racist, sexist, misogynist, whatever. Like, if this guy was genuine, he would have genuine arguments against Donald Trump, but of course, like, such as, Trump's close Zionist ties, but of course this Jew won't have any problem with that, so instead he lies about Donald Trump. And this is not to say that I think Donald Trump is wonderful and should not be criticized. I want him to be criticized for the actual stuff that, demands criticism, the bad things that he has done or might do, and so on. And not imaginary, childish, sexist, racist, misogynist bullshit. Anyway, Bernie Sanders is a complete charlatan, and this is just another example of that. Like, when the DNC, they supposedly screwed him over and like stole, he would have been the Democratic representative for the presidential election, but supposedly Hillary Clinton stole the candidacy from him, but he was okay with it, and yeah, I don't think he really cares, because he's, don't stop falling for this, like, he's like Jeremy Corbyn, I guess, in Britain. I heard he lost an election, which is good, not So if Theresa May won, I'm not saying it's a good thing, but anyways. So yeah, anyway, let's get back to his comment. Sanders said that Christian theology is indefensible, it is hateful, it is Islamophobic, it is an insult to over 1 billion Muslims throughout the world. First of all, I don't think that Islamophobic is the first thing when you think about, it shouldn't be the first thing you think when it comes to Christianity, like, some ideology that Christians hate. I come up with 2 other ideologies that Christians are supposed to, be intolerant against more than Islam, and that's either Judaism or Satanism or Luciferianism or whatever. Since, well, of course, Islam didn't exist when the, Christ supposedly existed. But yeah, Jews, they turned their back on Jesus and crucified him, and they are, of course, because of their hubris and their racial sense of superiority or something like that. And of course, the Book of Revelation calls the modern Jews the synagogue of Satan. They are not Jews but pretend to be Jews, something like that. At least that's what sort of what I don't remember the exact quote, but that is what the Book of Revelation says, and my interpretation is that it refers to people like him. So yeah, I don't think they have much to do with the Israelites in the Bible, and I don't know if those people even existed who were in the Bible, but in case they actually did, and I'm sort of inclined to think that the Bible is onto something, so don't confuse the Israel of the Bible with Israel of today. That's all I'm saying. And yeah, so let's see, and of course Christians are supposed to hate Satanism even more, I suppose, than Judaism, but that's another story. And Satanism is a real thing nowadays, especially, they're putting up statues of Baphomet here and there, and it's not just some silly thing that you see on movies or something. It's a real thing, and it's gaining popularity. I wonder why. And yeah, it's Christianity is hateful. Islam is not hateful at all. Behead those who insult Muhammad, or behead those who oppose Islam or whatever, or the Talmud of the Jews. And I don't think that all Jews necessarily adhere to the Talmud, but based on the actions of many Jews, I do think that several of them do adhere to its racial supremacist doctrines. And of course, just this thing that happened a couple of years ago, 2015, Israeli newspaper edits out Angela Merkel from front page on Paris March. So it was because of the Charlie Hebdo terrorist attacks. There was some photo up with there's Benjamin Netanyahu and Francois Hollande and some other politicians there posing how they are so caring and empathic. And then so this is the original, and here's Angela Merkel, and now here she's photoshopped out of it for the small Jewish ultra-Orthodox newspaper Hamewasser. I don't know how you pronounce it, but that's how I'm gonna say it. So yeah, they clearly hate women. Well, of course I hate Angela Merkel, as should everybody. But yeah, I think, if you want to talk about hateful theologies, I don't think of any other more hateful theologies except Muslims and Jews. Well, yeah, I think Satanism is not so hateful. I think it's all about love. That's why we see all this sodomy and transgenderism stuff. But it's the wrong kind of love. But I suppose that's another story.